Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Michaela Kerrison, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thiers. This evening, we are honoured to acknowledge Lieutenant General Stephen Skalenka, Deputy Commander, United States Indo-Pacific Command, Major General John A. Kaluniwai, Commander of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, accompanied by General Angus Campbell, Chief of the Defence Force, Major General Alex Taylor, British Army, United Kingdom, Major General Adrian Clunies-Ross, and the accompanying delegations. We also warmly welcome the members of the 39th Battalion Association in attendance this evening. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of St Joseph's Primary School from Merewether, New South Wales. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance of the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record for which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Corporal Alfred Roy Emmett. Alfred Emmett was born on the 12th of August 1891 in Hamilton, Victoria. Affectionately known as Alf, he was one of 13 children born to farmer Frank Emmett and his wife Kate. Arthur received his education at Hamilton Public School before working as a farmer. He was farming when the First World War broke out in 1914. Alf Emmett enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 7th of April 1916 in Ballarat. He was assigned to the Charlie Company of the 39th Battalion and embarked for active service on the troop ship Ascanius on the 27th of May 1916. From South Africa, Emmett wrote to his mother, "At about 4 o'clock in the morning we sailed into the harbour. My word, it was a lovely sight. As we drew up to the pier, all the town being lit up with electric light. It seemed very funny to see the shops open on Sunday. On Monday, we went out into the country, stopping at a village. Here, we held a sort of military sports with the natives taking part. Sides were picked and a game of football played. I don't think I've ever enjoyed myself so much." Arriving in England, Private Emmett continued his training with his comrades and new recruits. During this period, he developed rheumatism and was sent to hospital for a number of weeks. He made his way to the Western Front at the end of November 1916. His unit entered the trenches for the first time on the 9th of December, just in time for the onset of a bitterly cold winter. Emmett soon became ill. He was sent to hospital on the 14th of December with mumps and was later found to be suffering from rheumatic fever. He spent Christmas and New Year in hospital before rejoining his unit as a corporal in January 1917. His return to the front came as the Germans made a strategic withdrawal to the fortified Hindenburg Line. Their retreat was eagerly pursued by the Allied units, who seized their opportunity to push the enemy back. These units were confronted by well-prepared rearguard defences and booby-trapped towns, which resulted in a series of bloody clashes between the Allied forces and the enemy. The 39th Battalion played a minor role here, taking part in several small raids, with periods of training in the rear areas. In April, Emmett's battalion moved to France to Ploegstert sector in Belgium, relieving the 43rd Battalion. The men suffered continual bombardments of artillery and gas and suffered a number of casualties. 4 men were wounded and a further 2 were killed. Among the dead was Corporal Alf Emmett, who was killed by an enemy shell. He was buried near where he fell and today lies at Strand Military Cemetery in Belgium, beneath the words chosen by his parents. They read, "Fondly loved and sadly missed by his fond mother and father." His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Corporal Alfred Roy Emmett, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
We shall grow not old as they that grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.